Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavatpadam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavat Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamutaye Namaha Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahavirjam Karavavahai Tejasvi Navadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Grathitam Puranamulina Madhye Mahabharatam Advaitamritavarshini Bhagavatim Ashtadashadhyayini Ambatva Manusandadhami Bhagavad Gite Bhavadveshini Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedais Sangapadakramopalishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavasthita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginaha Yasyam Tam na Vidusura Suraganaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha Devaya Tasmai Namaha. So we are looking at Tattva Vichara. Chapter 7 begins with Ishvara Vicharaha, Tattva Vicharaha. Inquiry into the topic of Ishvara, Tattva. Tat in the statement Tat Tvam Asi. Tvam was completed in the first 6 chapters. Tat begins in the 7th chapter. And in this context, the model of creation will automatically come. And so we saw that in the shloka number 4, Bhumirapo Nalo Vayuhu Kammano Buddhirevacha Ahankara iti yamme bhinna prakriti rashtada. Like that, Krishna began to indicate he's not going to tell much about this Bhumi Apaha, etc. But this is the model, Bhumihi Apaha. So he is starting from gross Prithvi, comes all the way down to Akashaha. Kam is Akasha. And so in that context, we referred back to the text called Tattva Bodha. I was not planning to cover it, but since some of you asked it, we said, let's go back to the text and review this topic, which is called Panchikarnam. Panchikarnam. Because this Pancha Bhutas, Pancha Mahabhutas being fundamental to creation, to the Jiva, to everything we discuss in our Sanatana Dharma, so fundamental that it's good for us to spend some time on that. and Ayurveda has their own fundamentals, etc. But this Panchabhuta will not go anywhere. It will stick because the whole creation, it's a model of creation. Now you can't say, Guruji, it's not, we had 108 elements, now we have about 115, maybe 120, maybe 125, I don't know. It's been a long time since I studied chemistry. And when I studied, it was in college, it was 108. And since then it has gone up, I'm sure. And so how can you talk about 5-element model when there are 120 and 130 elements already invented, discovered, maybe not invented? Okay. Then I will ask this question. A 120 element model is incomplete because they're still figuring out. It's keeping on adding, right? Nobody said this is final. But here, this is final. Panchabhuta, whatever you say, how many ever elements you have, they're all combinations of this Panchabhuta. Panchabhuta. That is our view. And so this is complete in itself. It serves our purpose. Our purpose is to show what is the purpose of this model. Purpose is to not provide exact details of how the creation came. Purpose is to say that the creation, the Srishti, is Vivartam. Vivartam means what? The Srishti is pervaded by Ishvara, pervaded by Bhagavan. Am I audible?
Yes.
I'm audible, right? Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So that's the purpose. And so this model serves that purpose. And we will repeat that periodically so that we keep that in mind. So let us first chant the shlokas that we completed in Tattva Bodha. So Parvati, you can unmute yourself. Atha Chaturvimshati Tattvotpatti Prakaram Vakshamaha Brahmashraya Sattva Rajas Tamo Gunatmika Maya Asti Tataha Akashas Sambhutaha Akashad Vayuhu Vayos Tejaha Tejasa Apaha Adbhyah Prithvi Etesham Panchatattvanam Madhye Akashasya Satvikamshat Shrotrendriyam Sambhutam Sambhutam Vayo Satvikamshat Tvagindriyam Sambhutam Tvak Indriyam Sambhutam Agne Satvikamshat Chakshurindriyam Sambhutam
Chakshurindriyam Sambhudam
Jalasya Satvikamshat
Jalasya Satvikamshat
Rasanendriyam Sambhutam
Rasanendriyam Sambhudam
Prithivyaha Satvikamshat
Didn't get
Prithivyaha Satvikamshat
Prithvikvyaha Satvikamshat
Granendriyam Sambhutam
Kranendriyam Sambhudam
Etesham
Etesham
Panchatattvanam
Panchatattvanam
Samashti Satvikamshat
Samasta Satvikamshat
Manobuddhyahankara
Manobuddhyahangara
Chittantahkaranani Sambhutani
Chittantakarnani Sambhutani
Sankalpa Vikalpatmakam Manaha
Sankalpa Vikalpamagam Manaha
Nischayatmika Buddhihi
Nischayatmika Buddhihi
Ahankarta Ahankaraha
Ahankarta Ahangaraha
Chintana Kartru Chittam
Chintana Kartra Chittam
Manaso Devata Chandramaha
Manaso Devada Chandramaha
Buddher Brahma
Buddhir Brahma
Ahankarasya Rudraha
Ahankarasya Rudraha
Chittasya Vasudevaha.
Chittasya Vasudevaha
Yeah, let's do the next one also. Etesham
Etesham
Panchatattvanam
Panchatattvanam
Madhye
Madhye
Akashasya
Akashasya
Rajasamshat
Rajashamsat
Vagindriyam Sambhutam
Vahindriyam Sambhudam
Vayoho
Vayoho
Rajasamshat
Rajashamsat
Panindriyam Sambhutam
Panindriyam Sambhudam
Vanne Rajasamshat
Vanne Rajashamsat
Padendriyam Sambhutam
Padendriyam Sambhudam
Jalasya Rajasamshat
Jalasya Rajashamsat
Gudendriyam Sambhutam
Hutendriyam Sambhudam
Prithivya Rajasamshat
Prithivya Rajashamsat
Upasthendriyam Sambhutam.
Upastendriyam Sambhudam.
So this is what we covered in the last class, except the last one that we read as shloka. So starting from Brahmashraya Maya Asti, we saw Shataha Akasha Sambhutaha. So let's maybe now is a good time to show a slide here. Okay, let's see here. So let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, Guruji.
Okay. Okay, visible now?
Yeah, Guruji, full screen visible.
Okay, so we talked about 4 steps, 4 stages of this Srishti. And the first stage is what? Sukshma Bhuta Srishti, which means it is the creation of subtle elements. And so here we are showing the Panchabhutaha, they get evolved from Maya. From Maya, that is not separate from Brahma. So, Tataha Akasha Sambhutaha, Akashad Vayuhu, Vayo Ragnihi, Agne Rapaha, Adbhyas Prithvi. So, that is the Panchabhuta. Panchabhutas get created, and we saw that the reason for this order is that each has more and more attributes. Space has only one attribute, which is sound, Shabda. And then air has one more attribute, which is Tvak, touch, sensation of touch. And then fire has one more attribute. It has these two attributes plus one more. And then one more is Nama Rupa, Rupa. So Rupa, therefore, Chakshuhu, visibility becomes manifest, visible, then in the gross form anyway, and then water has taste and earth also has smell. So earth has 5 attributes, space only has 1 attribute. So when I say earth has smell, the gross earth has smell. We have not yet grossified so far, but we are using the gross aspect to understand the subtle aspect here. Okay, so Sukshma Bhuta Srishti, of which the first step is creation of Panchabhutaha, and then or Panchabhutani. And then earlier it was said Trigunatmika Maya, Brahmashraya Trigunatmika Maya. Therefore, this earth and all these Panchabhutani also are Trigunatmika only, because the qualities of Maya will be there in the created product also. And so we've got three aspects, Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas for each of these. Okay, so now let's see if the screen moves forward. Okay, there it is. Okay, good. So Akashasya Satvikamshat Shrotrendriyam Sambhutam. That is what this is. From Akasha, space, the subtle aspect of hearing, the ability to hear, is produced. And likewise, Vannehe Satvikamshat Tvagindriyam, touch, is produced. And Vayoho. Then Vannehe Chakshurindriyam Sambhutam, form and color means sight. And then Apaha, and that provides the taste. Rasanendriyam, and then Prithvi, from that comes Granendriyam. So all the 5 Pancha Jnanendriyani Sambhutani, 5 organs of perception are evolved from the sattvic aspect of the 5 elements. Okay, and then so yeah, you got the ears, skin, eyes, tongue, and nose, 5 organs of perception. And then we also said that Etesham Samashti Satvikamshat, from the collective sattva aspect of each of the 5 elements, the Manaha, Buddhihi, Ahankaraha, and Chittam, the order should be reversed here. And so those 4 are produced. We saw that also. And then Manasaha, Devata, Chandramaha, Moon, Brahma, and then Rudra and Vasudevaha. We saw all that in the last class. Okay. So far we have covered. Now we have to look at this Rajas aspect. So I'm going to stop sharing the screen now. Okay, so far audible? Review of the last class. That's what we have done so far, right? Nothing new has been said. Now, So where are we now? We are in the Sukshma Bhuta. Sukshma Bhuta Srishti was over, number one. Number two, Sukshma Bhautika Srishti. That is what we are talking now. Bhautika. Why Bhautika? Bhautika is a derivative of the Bhuta. These are all now derivatives. Sense organs are derivatives of the Panchabhutani. Therefore, they are called Bhautika. Technical word, Bhautika. And Manaha, Buddhi, etc. also derivatives of Panchabhuta. Therefore, Sukshma Bhautika Srishti. So we are in the second stage of this Srishti Vada, Srishti model and Srishti Prakriya. And the next step is what? Sattva evolution is over. Now we have to look at Rajas, the Rajas aspect, evolution of that we have to see. And which is what we read just now also. The last shloka, last line we read. I shouldn't call it as a shloka because it's not a shloka. It is prose, so it's not a shloka. So the last line we studied was Etesham Panchatattvanam Madhye Akashasya Rajasamshat Vagindriyam Sambhutam. So Akashasya Satvikamshat, from the Sattva aspect of Akasha, what happened? Well, Shrotrendriyam Sambhutam, the sense of hearing evolved. Here, from the Rajas aspect of that same Akasha, Bhuta, okay, Mahabhuta, Akasha, what happened? Vagindriyam. Vag means speech. The power, the sense of speech has come, has evolved. Okay, that is what he's saying here. And likewise, it goes, big list is given here. Vayoho Rajasamshat, Panindriyam Sambhutam. Pani means this Grahana Shakti. So these hands are called Pani. That is why Rama is called Kodanda Pani. Because Kodanda Pani means one whose Pani, whose hand has the bow called Kodanda. That is why Kodanda Pani. So Dandapani, sometimes we say Dandapani is different, not Rama. Dandapani is Murugan, Subramanya. And so because he's having a trident, veil. So trident, that's the thing he has. So he's called Dandapani. So anyway, Panindriyam Sambhutam. Okay, from what? From Vayoho Rajasamshat. Next, Vannehe Rajasamshat Padendriyam Sambhutam. Pada, so feet. Locomotion, the power to move, that is called the pada. And these are all indriyam. When we say the first set of 5 indriyams, the sense of perception, hearing, eyesight, etc., are called what? Jnanendriyani. Again, technical word, we have to remember this. No way but to remember this. And later on, if we have to know, Jnanendriyani is the sense of perception, 5 senses. Here, these indriyanis are called what? Karmendriyani. Why? Because they are the ones who can perform karma, perform action. No action performed by ears and eyes. Even though we say, I see, I heard, and yeah, I can hear you, I am able to hear you, I'm not able to hear you. All that we are saying, there is free will involved. But really speaking, ears don't perform any action. Okay, why? Because there's really no free will involved in it. We saw that in meditation, we saw in the classes also we saw. Why? Because as long as there is a source of sound, and as long as my ears are functioning, whatever way they function, hearing has to take place. Hearing has to take place. You can't say no. That is why you have to shut the door if it is noisy. That is why you have to tell them, hey, come on, keep quiet, there's a class going on. Why? Why free will? Array, I have a lot of free will. I will stop hearing that noise. I will only hear this class. What free will is there? No, you don't have that free will. That's because ears don't have free will, and your free will doesn't play here at all. And of course, the mind has to be there behind the ears. That is why sometimes when the mind is somewhere else, thinking of something else, somebody called you, you don't hear them at all. Samashti Satvikamshat Mano Buddhi Ahankara Chittantah Karanani Sambhutani. Manaha also is needed. So all the Satvikamshat coordinated by the mind. So mind is even more subtle. Even though the ears have passed the signals into the mind the mind is not responsive. It's saying, wait, like that it says. So coming back here, Vannehe Rajasamshat Pada Karmendriyam Sambhutam. Right? Padendriyam Sambhutam, the feet. And then what? Jalasya Rajasamshat Gudendriyam Sambhutam. Jala. So Gudendriyam Sambhutam. The organ of excretion. So both urine as well as the back, front and back. So Gudendriyam Sambhutam. Jalasya Rajasamshat. Then Prithivyaha Rajasamshat Upasthendriyam. Upastha means organ of procreation, the genitals. Okay. And so he says genitals are evolved from the Rajas aspect of the Prithvi Mahabhuta. Okay. And so that is it. There is nothing more to mention here other than the fact that Rajas means activity. So activity is involved, therefore Karmendriya. Sattva means purity, presence, thinking, and being aware to realities, therefore organs of perception. They have to work properly. In order for us to function properly, the sense organs must work properly. So, yeah, Bhagya raised her hand. Go ahead.
Jaykumarji, in the notes, in the link that we were sent, the two are reversed. Jalasya Rajasamshat Upasthendriyam Sambhutam. Prithivya Rajasamshat Gudendriyam Sambhutam.
Yeah, so sometimes I've found this too. These two are reversed. And so what Bhagya is saying is, from Jala aspect, the genitals have come. And from Prithvi, this organs of excretion, anus, etc. have come. Okay. So we've seen both. We see both. Okay, I've seen both. And I don't know which is correct, quote unquote. Even Swami Paramahansanandaji says that both versions are available. Okay, yeah, Maheshji, what's up?
Yeah, but the slides we distributed shows what you said. So his book, or where from we took, it shows just the opposite.
Correct.
What you stated.
Correct. So what I stated and what is there in this text that I'm reading, and the slides are consistent with that. Yeah. But be aware that you might see the opposite somewhere. Okay. I don't see any of our Swamis arguing which one is correct. That means what? Because they don't consider it is worthwhile to argue. That is what it means. So we also left. I have also not studied anymore beyond this. Okay. Okay. Now we are ready for the next. So which stage are we in? 1 or 2 or 3 or 4? Yeah. So we are in the second stage. Correct. Second stage is called what? Sukshma Bhautika Srishti. First stage is Sukshma Bhuta Srishti. Okay. Now we are about to go to the third stage. So let us chant that. Meera Narayan. Etesham Samashti Rajasamshat Pancha Pranaha Sambhutaha
Panchikarnam sambhutaha.
Yeah, so we are still in the second stage, because this is still Rajasamshat, correct? So to go to the next stage, we have to go to read the next one. So let's read the next one. Etesham Panchatattvanam Tamasamshat Panchikrita Panchatatvani bhavanti. Yeah. So just before going to that third stage, there is one more step there. And that step is Samashti Rajasamshat. Okay. So what was the Samashti Satvikamshat? Kani Sambhutani Samashti Satvikamshat? Well, Yeah, not Jnanendriya, Samashti Satvikamshat, Mano Buddhi Ahankara Chittani Sambhutani. Okay, Samashti. Okay, Jnanendriyani from each element, each one element alone. But the combination Mano Buddhi Ahankara. Why combination? Because Manas has to process the data coming from all five, therefore Samashti. Okay, so here also, here from the Rajas aspect, Samashti Rajas aspect, from all the Rajas aspects of all the Panchabhutani, we have this Pancha Prana. So what are the Pancha Prana? So those of us who do Sandhya Vandanam every day, so they will know Prana is Swaha, Apana is Swaha, Dhyana is Swaha, Udana is Swaha, Samana is Swaha. So Pancha Prana. So Prana is respiration. Literal translation. These mean more than that, but literal. Prana stands for respiration. Apana is evacuation. Okay, a removal of waste. Prana, apana, Vyana is circulation, blood circulation. Vyana is swaha. Then Udana is swaha. Udana. Fourth prana is called Udana. And what is Udana? Udana is a process that kicks in when the body senses some danger, and that is called like the vomiting process. It says, I need to reject it right now. It's an emergency. And so that process is called Udana process. Okay. And then Samanaha. जो समान करता है, जो सम करता है, like putting things in the mixie and then turning on the switch, blending. So same thing, digestion, process the whole thing, process it out. It's more than just a mixie, obviously, but a digestion process and associated processes. Okay, digestion means don't just think stomach, etc. So liver and pancreas and all these juices and all that come, everything, that process is samana. That which processes the food taken. And the air, we should also include maybe air also here. But anyway, the food in any case is the samana. So what are the five? Prana, apana, vyana, udana, samana. Prana is respiration, apana is evacuation, vyana is circulation, udana is the reversal process like vomiting, and samana is digestion and related processes. Okay? These are called Pancha Prana.
Again, it is reversed. The order between Udana and Samana in the slide is reversed.
Oh, I see. Okay. Let's take a look at the slide here. Okay, there we go. Right. So, Etesham, let me do the annotation here. Spotlight. Okay, there we go. So, Etesham Pantachatmanam Madhye Samashti Rajasamshat. So, Prana, Vyana, and Prana, Apana, Vyana, and yeah, reversed, Samana and Udana. And so this reverse has to be here. So it's kind of reverse is reverse, I suppose. And so essentially these refer to the physiological systems, physiological processes happening in the body. So it's amazing. They already knew all these processes. At least they knew that they existed. Maybe not to the level of detail today's scientists know, but they knew these processes are critical. And therefore, when just before we, that's why the slides, see, it feels odd for me to talk in front of a slide. I don't see any of you. It feels very odd, even though I can say it, but I need to see you before I talk. And so the physiological systems I was talking about, and during this, before we have food, we chant this prana, swaha, etc. And so let the food I eat be beneficial to my prana, to my apana, etc. Means let it be for the proper health, because simply consuming is not enough. The food has to get digested also. The food should be pure, should not have contamination. So they say food poisoning. Okay. So all these things are there. So that prayer, from cooking onwards, there is a prayer. Cooking onwards, prayer is there, and the whole day prayer just to maintain this body. You can see how much all the things have to line up. All the things have to line up. Any moment something goes off, then we have to run. And so run means either to the doctor or to somewhere else. Okay. So anyway, so this is the Pancha Prana, Sambhutaha. Okay. Then now, until now, we have done what? The second stage, which is Sukshma Bhautika Srishti. Everybody got that? Yeah. Now, what we just read is that Sthula Bhuta Srishti Etesham Panchatattvanam Tamasamshat Panchikrita Panchatatvani Sambhutani or Bhavanti. Okay. Now, you got the 5 subtle elements, Panchabhuta, Akasha, Vayu, etc. Now, the tamas aspect of each of those Panchabhutaha evolve into the gross form of the Panchabhutaha, which are also called Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apaha, and Prithvi. Same names only, but they are gross. They are gross. And so, gross, what is the name for gross? Here he doesn't say Sthula, but we have to say Sthula Bhuta Srishti. Okay. Why he doesn't say Sthula? Because he thinks we know. Panchikrita, like that word, that's a technical word, which means becoming gross, grossification. Often in books you will see the word grossification. Becoming gross, becoming perceivable, becoming something that you can, it's becoming tangible. Okay, that is tangibility has happened now in this step. Okay, Etesha. So, okay, what happened now? This is Sthula Bhuta Srishti. From the subtle 5 elements, you got gross 5 elements. Correct? Yeah, everybody got that? Yeah. Now, let's read the next step. Okay, who would like to read next? Okay. Yeah, Bhagya. Go ahead. Unmute yourself. Panchikaranam.
Panchikarnam
Kathamiti chet.
Kathamiti chet
Etesham.
Etesham
Pancha Mahabhutanam.
Pancha Mahabhutanam
Tamasamsha Swarupam.
Tamasamsha Swarupam
Ekam
Ekam
Bhutam
Bhutam
Dvida Vibhajya.
Vidha Vibhajya
Ekam
Ekam
Ardham Prithak Tushnim Vyavasthapya.
Ardham Prithak Tushnim Vyavasthapya
Aparam Ardham
Aparam Ardham
Chaturdha Vibhajya.
Chaturtham Vibhajya
Swardha Bhinneshu
Swardha Bhinneshu
Ardheshu
Ardheshu
Swabhaga Chatushtaya
Swabhaga Chatushtaya
Samyojanam Karyam
Samyojanam Karyam
Tatha
Tatha
Panchikaranam Bhavati.
Panchikarnam Bhavati
Etebhyaha
Etebhyaha
Panchikrita
Panchikrita
Pancha Mahabhutebhyaha
Pancha Mahabhutebhyaha
Sthula Shariram Bhavati.
Thula Shariram Bhavati
Evam
Evam
Pinda Brahmanda Yoho
Pinda Brahmanda Yoho
Aikyam Sambhutam.
Aikyam Sambhutam.
Yeah. Good. So we have come to third stage. What is the third stage? Sthula Bhuta Srishti, where the 5 Sthula Bhutas have come. The Sthula Bhutas are not Pancha Mahabhuta. Pancha Mahabhuta generally refers to the Sukshma Mahabhuta. Okay. So the Sukshma. But here it is Sthula. So they have grossified into these 5 elements. 5 elements are grossified. Now, look at what he says. Etesham, Panchikaranam Kathamiti Chet. Now, the last step is what we are covering. Fourth step. What is the fourth step? Sthula Bhautika Srishti. Correct? It has to be Sthula because we are already grossified. Okay? And then Bhautika because derivative of the Sthula Bhutas and therefore called Bhautika. Sthula Bhautika Srishti. Fourth stage. Correct? So, Panchikaranam Kathamiti Chet. So now this process is called Panchikaranam. Panchikaranam means there is a process of mixing and involving this 5-fold way. And what is that Panchikaranam? Kathamiti Chet. If that were asked, then he's going to explain. Okay. So last time when I explained, I gave this example. Some of you will remember this example. And I gave the example of people coming for lunch, working at a company. Some of you working in various companies. Mohan is working in Microsoft, and Vaidya is working in a chemical company, etc. A lot of people are working in different fields. And so lunchtime has come. No, this lunchtime is an important time, right? Not just because you're hungry, etc. That's okay. That is one important time. But then that's also a time to kind of get together and say, okay, come on, let's go for lunch. So let's go have lunch. Okay. This kind of lunch, this is a unique lunch because this is a group of people that get food from home. Okay. Either they cook their own food, and so both ladies, men and women have come together. Imagine 5 people have come together. Okay. How many people are having lunch? 5 people are having lunch. Very important. No, don't change these numbers. Okay. So 5 people have come to have lunch, and they have their tiffin carriers, and then their boxes are all their lunch boxes, and they've all opened the lunch boxes. And then now first person says, opens the lunch box, and they look at, dosa. Okay, dosa. Then second person opens the lunch box. Interesting. What do you have? Oh, you have Uttapam. Some of you may not know what Uttapam is, but we people know what Uttapam is. It's a type of dosa. Okay, and where more this pesarapapu. So there is this moong dal is used at it, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe urad, I forget now. Pesarapapu, I used to make all those things those days. But anyway, Uttapam is there. It's different. It's a slightly thicker, spongy. It's like a pancake. Okay, sponge, Uttapam. Okay, then third person opens the box, and then there comes roti. Okay, fourth one opens, and then there is another dish, and it's called, you have to give a name. It's called Paratha. I'm looking for these round things. Okay, circular round things. Purposely I'm choosing that. Okay, Paratha has come. Then fifth person, what did you get? Lady, what did you get? And so she opens her box and she has something. And we have to give a new one. It's called Adai. Adai is also, it's like a dosa, but it's the only thing is thick. And it's made in a different way. It has some even ground dal, not finely ground, but even broken dal and things like that. It can have many other things. Okay. So carrot and this and that, they can put vegetables. So that type of thing is called Adai. So we have 5 different things. 5. So we have Pancha Bhautikas. Pancha Bhautika. Stula, not Bhautika. Stula Bhuta. Stula Bhuta. Pancha Stula Bhuta. What are this? Dosa. And let me recall what I said. Dosa, and then Uttapam, and Roti, and Paratha, and Adai. I hope the order is correct. Okay. Now they have all sat down. Now what's going to happen? See, in a group lunch, typically, at least Indians, what they do is we share what we have. We share. And so first sharing happens before everything. All mantras are all chanted or not, we don't know, but sharing happens. Okay. Then, so this dosa man says, he cuts the dosa into half, and at the same time, the roti is cut into half, uttapam is cut into half, paratha is cut into half, adai is cut into half. So everybody is cutting their lunch into half. Then, see, the person is not simply going to give away his dosa to everybody else. Okay, that doesn't happen. So dosa is my lunch, okay, but I want to share it also. So I'll keep half of it for myself. The remaining half, what am I going to do? Well, it's pretty obvious. There are 4 people in front of me. So I have to divide this other half into 4 equal parts. Okay. And then I give 1/8 to that person. 1/8 means 1/4 of half is 1/8, right? So 1/8 to each of my friends, 4 friends. And guess what the other people do? They also do the same thing. And this Uttapam lady also is doing the same thing. She says, who made this Uttapam and all is not a big point right now. We don't have to discuss that. Either the man made it or the woman made it. Somebody made it at home. Okay, it doesn't matter. So Uttapam is also done the same way. And then I get 1/8, a little bit of Uttapam. Then I get 1/8 of paratha. I get 1/8 of roti. I get 1/8 of adai. Correct? So now I have in my plate what? I have half a dosa and 1/8 of each of those other items. So total quantity wise, I didn't lose much at all. But now I got variety, variety. So that's a good bargain, I think. And then daily we keep doing this. So eventually it all evens out. So, but sometimes some people, they get good food, tasty food and all the day. Your wife cooks very well, yeah. I think we have to do some namaskar to her. One day we all should meet at your place. And so we have to just, our lunches are so good because of this, like that. Anyway, so this is what happens. This process. That's it, over. This is Panchikarnam. If you have understood this, you have understood Panchikarnam. So language is there. Okay. Tamasamsha Swarupam ekam bhutam dvidha vibhajya. Dvidha vibhajya means having cut into 2, having split into 2. Okay. Ekam ardham pritak tushnim vyavasthapya. Very, keep 1/2 aside, don't touch it. That's what he's saying. Tushnim vyavasthapya. Tushnim means quietly keep it aside, don't touch it. Okay. Aparam ardham chaturdha vibhajya. The other half, each of the other half, aparam ardham. So there are 5 halves, So each of those second 5 halves, you split it into 4 parts. Chaturdha vibhajya. And then swardha vinneshu ardheshu swabhaga chatushtaya samyojanam karyam. He says, do this process. Okay. And combine the 1/8 of each of those things with the 1/2 that is remaining, tushnim, that is quietly sitting there. And then that is called Panchikarnam. That is what he says. Okay. So now we can see the slides and should be fairly understandable. Let me share this. Okay. Now let's see if you agree with this slide. Okay. So tamasic aspect, it says on top. So that's correct, because the tamas. What happened? Did I? Okay. Is it visible now, the screen?
Yes, Guruji.
Yeah. So tamasic aspect, obviously, the tamasamshat. So first step is what? Etesham Panchatattvanam tamasamshat pancha Tattvani, Panchikrita Pancha Tattvani Bhavanti. That is what this is. This line 1 here is that is the Sthula Bhuta Srishti. Previously, Sukshma Bhuta Srishti, number 1. Now, number 3 is what? Sthula Bhuta Srishti. So, elements, gross elements. And from there, the process is now described. Split into 2. And then, and this diagram, my friend Ganapati ji made it. And the entire slides, Mahesh Subramanian, he offered to make it. He spent a lot of time on this. And but this one, it's nice that he copied it, because creating all these things, it takes so much time. And so look at that. He puts a black box here, which means what? Just keep it like that. Just stay put, and then take the other half and then split that into 4 pieces, and then share that each of those pieces with the other 5 or other 4 Panchabhutaha. Okay. And this is it. This process is called Panchikarnam. That's what he's saying. So nothing big here. And once you understand the process, the lunch process, then Panchikarnam is understood. And then he says, Etebhyaha Panchikrita Pancha Mahabhutebhyaha Stula Shariram Bhavati. He says, from these grossified elementals, remember we are using the word elemental for the Bhutika and element for the Bhuta, just some English words, that's all. And from that gross elements, from these elementals, which are formed in the way that we just described, he says, Sthula Shariram Bhavati. Sthula Shariram means what? This body, the physical body, which is Sthula, which is gross, which is visible. Thankfully, we are all visible to each other. That is because of this Sthula nature. And so that gross body is formed. That is what he's saying. Okay. Beyond that, he doesn't say anything. He doesn't talk about cosmos and galaxy and this and that. No, nothing. Heaven, Swarga, and Patala, there's so much to talk about. Nothing. He doesn't say anything. He says, if you have understood this, you have understood the entire creation. That's the implication. Everything is a combination of this Panchabhuta. There is a meaning here. And then he says here, Evam Pinda Brahmanda Yoho Aikyam Sambhutam. Okay, this is called Advaita Vedanta. And Aikyam, the minute you see Aikyam, Pinda Brahmanda Yoho Aikyam Sambhutam. What is Pinda? Pinda is Jiva, myself. Brahmanda is the cosmos. He suddenly introduces the word Brahmanda, because Sthula Shariram, when you say body has come, means the whole beings, living beings, non-living beings, everything has come. Planet, solar system, galaxy, universe has come. And so Brahmanda is that universe. And he says, Pinda Brahmanda Yoho. Between this Pinda and Brahmanda, Aikyam Sambhutam. There is equality. Fundamental equality, he says. How come there is equality? Because Brahmashraya Maya. Maya has Brahma. Maya is Brahma. Correct? Maya is Brahma. Akasha is Brahma. Vayu is Brahma. Agni is Brahma. Vayu is Brahma. Apaha is Brahma. And this Prithvi is Brahma. Sukshma Bhuta is Brahma. Then what about Jnanendriyani? Well, they are also Brahma, because that Brahma is Vivartam. Brahma is not sitting there creating and then throwing all these things out. No throwing business. Brahma is thrown in the creation, in and through. And therefore, he says the entire Karmendriyani is Brahma. Then Mano, Buddhi, Ahankara, etc. is Brahma. And Tamasamshat, all these things that came about. Then the Karmendriyani is Brahma. And Sthula Shariram is Brahma. Therefore, this entire Jagat Brahmandam is Brahma. Brahmandam. What is so now we have to ask why it is called Brahmandam. Brahma jiska and hai, wo Brahmand hai. The one, that is how I am now translating. I am now defining Brahmanda. Okay. So jiska and Brahma hai. So that which came from Brahma, the seed of that is Brahma. And also we should add that which is not separate from Brahma. Brahma is pervading this world and therefore called Brahmanda. And there is Aikyam Sambhutam. Aikyam was there all through. It was not created. Aikyam was not created. Aikyam always existed. Okay? That's the beauty of this. And so, this is what, when somebody asked, Mohini asked, why don't you show a schematic? And so, I had to do this. And it's good. It's a good exercise for all of us to understand, because this is foundational. This is there. Whatever sampradaya we are, this Panchabhuta model we have to understand. And and so and we have extracted this from the text called Tattva Bodha, a text that Puja Swamiji taught somebody when somebody wanted a brief summary of our Shastram, etc. And so he didn't know which text. Brief summary means what? We can't take Bhagavad Gita and start teaching, because Bhagavad Gita is not brief. And then he found it in this Tattva Bodha. And so that has become a standard text for all us students, all in many ashrams. So this is called Srishti. So Panchikarnam, Srishti Vicharaha, and how the Srishti happened through Panchabhutas. That is what we talked about. So we have completed this particular part. We'll have to just come back to Bhagavad Gita, make the connections, and then continue. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Thank you.
Thank you.
Guruji, in Chandogya, they all talk about Trividkarana.